just standing right here and looking at this is like, man, this is so cool. Okay, it's a little dark in here, so let me just change the time of day a little bit. It's better. Okay. So, this is MUVR. This is a VR game, if you will, that lets you play emulators. It lets you play games within the game. This is running RetroArch under the shell, so it can play most retro games. I think it can also do DOSBox, and you can also play video files, which I will show you. So let's start over here. This is a Sega Genesis, unfortunately, and that's the only system. Well, so I've loaded up NES, I've loaded up SNES, and I've loaded up Genesis, just to keep this simple to get this video going. I've made these 3 subfolders. I put a single ROM in each. So we've got Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. We got Sonic the Hedgehog for the Genesis. We got Mario Duck Hunt for the NES. Obviously, you can load in more ROMs, and you will have these virtual cartridges. So let me show you. On the Genesis here, we can grab Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, that's the only game I had, but if I had more, I could bring up my inventory, and we could grab a different game. But I'm going to put that in there. We're going to turn on this TV. And we're going to turn on the Genesis. And as you can see, Sonic the Hedgehog there running. Hopefully it's not too loud. How this volume's all coming through. I can change the volume on the TVs. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I'm using the microphone built into the VR headset right now, which isn't the greatest microphone, so my voice might be too loud, and I'm hoping that you can hear the games. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to turn on this guy, this genuine phony PVM, and we're going to turn on, again, in this case, Super Mario World. Now, as you can see, the artwork's generic. I believe there is a way to properly fill in the artwork, but obviously I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm going to turn on the Super Nintendo, and there we got Super Mario World on this PVM. Very nice image. Now, this CRT is almost perfectly flat, if not perfectly flat, whereas this one here has a very obvious curvature to it. And at the right lighting angles, you can see slight imperfections in the glass. You can see smudges and scratches. It's very, very convincing looking. Same on here. We can see some smudges and some scratches that you'll see in the darker areas, but right now with the brighter screen, not so noticeable. Obviously, we can reset, but who's surprised about that? We're going to come over here to the NES. And again, turn on the TV, and we're going to turn on the NES. And then, oh, yeah, one thing I wanted to show you. This has kind of been pre-set up a little bit by me. So, for example, turn this off. When we first got the Super Nintendo out, we had to grab a Super Nintendo, and then we had to grab the AV cables, and we had to plug the AV cables into the back of the Super Nintendo. And as you can see, these systems are modeled very, very well. The NES here, even on the bottom, we got the fake expansion port cover. Got your RF power, your AV cables. Again, if we were going to plug this into something, we would have to actually grab the AV cables. Oops, I dropped it on the floor. Let me put the NES back. But yeah, for the SNES, we had to actually, grab the TV. We had to turn this thing around. And we had to, plug the AV cables in, RGB in this case. And so, yeah, you've got to basically hook everything up. But obviously, I've already done that. So I'll turn that back on. And we'll go back over here to the Genesis. Oh, actually, we still haven't got the VCR going yet. So let me bend down here a little bit. Hopefully, I don't hit anything in the real world. I'm going to hit power on this giant-ass Panasonic CRT TV, and I'm going to I'm going to hit eject so I can show you this VHS tape. This VHS tape is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 1, Episode 1 of the original series. This is just a video file that I put in a folder called Videos. I could put movies in there, I could put multiple TV shows, and basically have these VHS tapes sitting around. In this case, obviously, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm going to pop that in. Whoops. Going to pop that in. And we'll hit play. And there you go. So that's, again, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 1, Episode 1. It's a very shitty video file. It looks very pixelated. That's not necessarily an issue with this system or this program. It's just a really old, shitty video file that I had. I should have picked something better. I should have maybe picked a movie. Let me turn the volume. There we go. Again, we can turn the volume up and down on all these TVs. Again, hopefully you can hear that. I don't know how this is coming across to you. Obviously, you're seeing this in 2D, not 3D. I can only tell you that this looks amazing in 3D, but you just got to take my word for it. I'm going to change the time of day a little bit. We'll get it a little bit darker in here. Okay. Now just look at this. We've got a Sega Genesis emulator running over there. We've got our Super Nintendo emulator running over there. We've got an NES emulator running over there. We've got a video file playing here and our fake VCR. Like, how fucking awesome is this? And all these TVs work. The older... Fuck, I just hit my monitor in real life. Let me... The older TVs here, you turn them on, they go to snow. The PVMs, you turn them on, they go to RGB. This one you turn on, it goes to video. I assume this is trying to emulate composite, but if we look really close, you can see the scan lines. You can see there's a little bit of blur. It actually looks really, really awesome. But we haven't played it yet, so let's play. First of all, I gotta figure out where I am in the real world here. Jesus Christ, where is literally my computer desk? Okay, computer desk is right here. So we're gonna point at the Genesis, and we've got to select it as basically we want to focus on the Genesis. And now it's like we're holding a fake Sega Genesis controller in our hands. So our left stick is basically our D-pad, and we've got our buttons on our right side. In this case, we only need one for jump, which is convenient. I can still hear, and I hope you can hear it, but I can still hear Super Mario World going off there in my right ear. And I can hear the, Sonic the Hedgehog. I think the Super Mario World's a little bit louder, but we're further away from it. The sound is 3D. I mean, obviously, the closer you get to this TV, the louder this is going to sound. But I think this is a little bit too quiet right now. I can hear it. Again, hopefully you can hear it. But Super Mario World over there is it's a little too loud. So I'm going to hit reset on that. And then I'm going to find out where the hell I am again. We have to unfocus on the Genesis to move around again. So we should be able to move around. Yep. Okay. So we'll go over here to the Super Nintendo. And we're going to do the same thing. We are going to click on the Super Nintendo, and we want to focus on the Super Nintendo. Now we're holding a Super Nintendo controller in my hands. And now I can hear Ninja Turtles a little bit in my right ear. Again, hopefully you can hear this. I'm pretty sure you can hear me nice and loud. But hopefully, I don't know. I don't know how loud the game sounds are going to be. Ah, sorry, Yoshi. So yeah, there we go. I'm gonna hit reset. And of course the Genesis is still going, and again we can turn the volume. How do I do it? Oh, I'm still attached to the Super. See, I'm still holding the virtual Super Nintendo. I'm still controlling the Super Nintendo, and we need to disable that so that we can move around again. Yeah. Okay. So. There is a light switch in the room. You can turn the light switch on, which is cool and all, but honestly, all these CRTs look damn cool with the lights down. Just standing right here and looking at this is like, man, this is so cool. And this works with a lot more. Again, it's RetroArch in the background. I'm pretty sure we can load TurboGrafx 16. We can load N64. We can load, I think we can load PlayStation. And this even works with light guns. Now, I haven't quite got this working yet, but let me just show you here. If we go up to the NES, and if we pretend we're going to play the NES, what will happen if I can figure out where I am in the room here. Yeah, I got to turn around a little bit here. Okay. So if we load up the NES, it's... Oh, that didn't work. There we go. It puts a zapper in my hand because I've told it that the NES is tied to the zapper. Now, realistically, you don't want to do that. You want to tie certain games to the zapper. But again, to get this up and running as quickly as possible, I just tied the NES to the zapper. So as soon as I load the NES, as soon as I try to play the NES, it's going to put the zapper in my hand. And as you can see, I can pull the trigger with the trigger on my controller. I can even switch hands. But it's not working. Now, imagine, if you will, if it was working. Like, this could be a really neat way to accurately play light gun games if you don't own CRTs or you don't own the real light guns. But again, I haven't figured out how to get that to work. It does work, though. I've seen people do it. It does work. It's just, obviously, I got to play around with this a little bit more. Got an older TV by our bed here. This would probably be a cool spot to have a VCR and something playing. There's even a radio here, and I'm assuming this can play music. So if we had a folder for music, like we have a folder for videos, I'm guessing maybe this could play music. I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, is it as dark in here as we can get it? I guess that's as dark as it gets. It's kind of cool. You can see my shadow. You can see my hands and my head. It'd be cool if you could see the whole body had a shadow. I'm not sure exactly why they did it that way, but that's what they did. If I was holding the zapper in my hand, you would see the shadow of the zapper on the wall. That clock looks really cool. I love the loom on that. That's really cool. For the Super Nintendo, we can actually have it look like the... So we can actually have like a Japanese Super Famicom instead, if we wanted. Let's see what happens here. Let's put that there. Let's turn that off. Let's grab the thing out of there. Let's grab the Super Famicom and plug that in instead. And I don't know if the cartridge is gonna fit. It did, but I mean it shouldn't, but it did. Let's turn that on. Power light there comes on. So that's pretty cool. Maybe if that was Super Mario World, a Japanese or a European ROM, the cartridge would be the right shape. Not really sure how that looks. In the NES, you can flip this open when you have to load an NES game. Again, I've only got one ROM per system, just to keep it simple. But like, this does load in. Oh, fuck, I dropped it. And then I hit, well, I'm just gonna grab another one. I've got infinite these. And I actually got to push it in. It's just kind of funny. And this would be really cool if the artwork on these cartridges matched. But again, they don't. And yeah, let me just let's play some. Well, we played Super Mario World. We played Sonic the Hedgehog. I guess we can't play Super Mario Brothers because as soon as I try to play that, it loads the zapper in my hand. Because again, I told it any NES game is going to be a zapper, as opposed to I should have just told it certain games would be the zapper. Now, for a game like this where it has both, you might be better off using separate ROMs, just a standalone Super Mario Brothers and a standalone Duck Hunt, and then you could tell it when you load up Duck Hunt to use the zapper. Because I don't think, at least I don't know how to switch between the zapper and a controller once you've loaded a system up. Maybe there's a way to do it. Again, a lot of this takes some getting used to. Setting up this program was actually really easy. Their instructions are really good. I'm going to have a link in the description again. I'll bring you to the webpage. It'll tell you need to download this program and you need to download a very specific version of RetroArch that this works with. But they've got the 2 links right there. They've got very good instructions. It only takes like 5 minutes to get this set up with some of your ROMs and get in here and have it working. It takes longer to learn how to move around, how to grab items, how to manipulate, hook up the AV cables, how to grab a something and change the volume on it. That's what takes more time than actually. That's funny how that old TV has I guess for visual for us to know, it makes sense. But I mean, obviously a TV like that shouldn't have an on-screen display. Arguably, even if this one would. It's a really cool looking TV, by the way. It's a genuine Shark. I love Shark and Phony. It's kind of funny, they're all fake brands, except I think the Panasonic is totally spelt right. And again, they got a real NES, they got real Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, but for some reason they just couldn't have a real Sega Genesis. So, I mean, even the cartridge for this looks like, almost looks more like a Famicom cartridge. Or like an EA Sega Genesis cartridge without the triangle. Some of the knockoff like cartridges from the companies that didn't have a license from Sega to make the cartridges. So I don't know what that says on the bottom. It's kind of hard to read. Hello, I am a placeholder model. I need more light on this. Let me turn the light on in this room. It might be easier to read. I never noticed this before, so I'm curious what this says. I am a placeholder model representing the console you wanted. It should be properly modeled someday, but until then, you can use me to play its games. Okay, so this is a work in progress. This is like a beta or something. So they just haven't modeled all the systems yet. That's good to know. So maybe eventually we will have... Fuck. I'm always afraid to bend down because I'm going to smack my head off something. Or reach out too fast and hit my monitor. I don't have a lot of physical room where I am right now. So, like every time I go to turn the power on something, I'm like, oh god, don't go too fast, because like my real monitor might be right here for all I know. So that's cool. I didn't know that. I love the Coca-Cola can. It actually says capitalism, which is kind of funny, but like the The Ruffles. Just says Ruffles. Frito-Lay. Huh. Everything looks really realistic when you hold it in your hand. The Super Nintendo cartridge, you know, very well modeled. It's got the sticker on the back. Nintendo, the little clips, the 2 screws. You can see the PCB in there. It even looks proper. I mean, that's really cool. And imagine if this had the real art on it and all the games that you own in real life you could have sitting here. And, you know, you just grab one. Whoops. I dropped the Genesis, but it's still running. And, yeah, you could have your whole collection. I mean, it's really, really cool. And again, with the lights off, just, man. Too cool, man. And I can see the reflections of those 3 in that. Like how this is so well done. Everything looks amazing. The CRTs look super realistic. And the fact that this is free, this is like, look at the scratches on this thing. There's so much smudge and scratches. And but it looks really cool. Again, that video file sucks. I should have picked a better video file. I forgot that. These are really old rips of the Ninja Turtles that I have. Really, really old rip. And I forgot how poor that looks, but this looks so cool. I gotta pick that up. Oh, see, I just hit my computer chair's right here. Come here, Genesis. Get you around my computer chair. And gotta set you down right there. I'm sorry, but this is just really, really cool. And I've been blabbering on way too long. But just the possibilities here, filling up all these with your systems and getting some better videotapes for that. And
They're robots.
I mean, what a cool way to play games and watch TV shows or something. Like this is just really fucking awesome. Hopefully it works for you. I'm running on a Oculus Rift S. They didn't mention that. I think they mentioned it works on an Oculus. Yeah, I think they mentioned Oculus Rift, but they didn't mention the Rift S. It works on a lot of the VR headsets that will plug directly into your PC, but it's not going to work on a lot of them. It won't work on any of them that don't. So I think they said it doesn't work on the Quest. It might work on the Quest 2 because I think with the cable, you can physically hook that up to the PC. It has to be one that hooks up into the PC. I assume it's just using like OpenVR. This isn't Steam VR. This isn't a program that you run in Steam. It's just a standalone EXE. And again, the setup is actually pretty easy. This just pretty much just ran, and it runs really good. So this is just really cool. Anyways, guys, that's it. See you guys later. So I put another NES here. I figured a slightly bigger CRT would be better for playing Duck Hunt on. And then this one just has just Super Mario Brothers ROM, and then this one has just the Duck Hunt ROM, like I said you should do. And so now this one, if we go to play it, just give me a second here. So we got Zapper in hand, and now it works. How fucking awesome is that? This is just, oh my god. I love this program.